The Community Mental Health and Wellbeing Fund opened in September for applications, where we had multi-year applications and one-year applications. Through various reasons, we're in a fortunate position that we are able to reopen the fund for a round 2. The round 2 opening of the fund is for one-year applications only. You will have 18 months to spend the funding, and it does not affect current applications. So if your organisation already has an application into the Community Mental Health and Wellbeing Fund, the reopening does not affect that. So it does not mean that your application has been rejected. Panel will meet at a later date. You can apply for up to £10,000. You can apply more than once, and it is aimed towards grassroots organisations, pilot projects, new projects, or previously funded projects which demonstrate impact. So we can fund an existing project. All we're asking is when you apply, you make it clear on your application how you demonstrate the impact of the project that you're already running. Panel dates are due to meet on the 12th of January. Now, the one-year panel is going to meet on the 12th and 13th of January. This may be extended due to the level of applications. So if we get a really high level of applications in, then we might have to extend that date. All applications will find out if you've been successful or unsuccessful by the 1st of February, and the payments will be made from the 1st of February. So once you've received your notice of award and you sign the condition of grant, then you get your invoice back into us and we can have your payments made very quickly. We've got a fantastic finance team that distribute payments pretty much as soon as the invoices come in. So you shouldn't be waiting too long. We do say 4 weeks after your invoices come in, but I don't think we've ever had a group wait that long for funding. The fund aims and priorities. So the overarching aim of the fund is to support community-based initiatives that promote and develop good mental health and wellbeing. It aims to protect against the impact of distress and mental ill health within the adult population. So the fund aims to target mental health inequalities, address priority areas, support small grassroots community groups and organisations, and provide opportunities for people to connect with each other and build trusted relationships. It's really important that you link any application to the priorities and the aims of the fund. Important information: this fund cannot go towards any element that supports children and young people under the age of 16. That is a Scottish Government guideline that we cannot break. So, for example, library projects are really difficult to fund under this because there is no real way to evidence how it's only going to affect adults over the age of 16. So please be mindful of that when you're putting your application in. VASLAN do not have the capacity to go back to organisations and clarify points on applications, so please include all relevant information and do not rely on VASLAN coming back to ask questions. This is really important when it comes to salary costs. We often get applications in that are asking for salary costs and they don't break it down, so we don't know if they've included pension, national insurance, potential uplift in real living wage come April. So please make that clear in your application. New versus existing projects. So existing projects can apply. It does not have to be a new project. We're not asking you to reinvent anything. You can apply for projects that are already working. We just look for the evidence that the project is working. Feedback. So we do aim to give all rejected applications feedback. However, sometimes the feedback will simply be that the fund was oversubscribed and another application is maybe just tipped to yours at panel. In 2025, so last year's fund, which went out at the beginning of this year, we did receive, and all TSIs reported of receiving an unacceptable level of abuse from groups who'd been unsuccessful. The Scottish Government have now given all TSIs the option to exclude any groups from further applications if it's deemed that they're treating TSI staff unfairly. We know it is frustrating. We know that the funding landscape is really difficult at the moment, but be mindful that we as well are at the receiving end of that. So if you are in an unfortunate situation where your application is rejected, we do aim to give you feedback. If you have an issue with it, just talk to us, please. We're not here to accept any kind of unacceptable level of abuse. National organisations, because this is a one-year fund that is solely aimed at grassroots organisations, we are excluding national organisations from this fund. South Lanarkshire grassroots organisations will always be given preference over organisations from out with South Lanarkshire. unless it is evidence that your organisation is meeting a need that communities are not already receiving, or that groups within South Lanarkshire cannot already fill that gap. So if your organisation is based in South Lanarkshire, you will be given preference than if your organisation is based outside of South Lanarkshire. If you don't, or if your organisation is in North Lanarkshire, for example, and you don't already have projects in South Lanarkshire, the chance of a project being awarded from this fund is very slim. If you're only just trying to break into South Lanarkshire, it's because the fund is always oversubscribed and preference is always given to organisations that sit within South Lanarkshire. Important dates. So the fund opened on Monday, the 24th of November. The fund will close on the 19th of December at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. The panels will meet the beginning of January, so the week of the 12th, and prospective payment dates will be the 1st of February onwards. We must have this money out of our bank account by the 31st of March. So as soon as you get your invoices into us, we can get that money to you guys. Our website, so Peter has put the link to our website in the chat, and we have a dedicated page to the Community Mental Health Wellbeing Fund where you can find guidance. You can also find a Word version of the application form that cannot be submitted. That is just for you to practice on, or if you've got a couple of ideas, then you can have a play about with the application, but you cannot submit the Word application, and the link to the actual application form. And what we've also done is a video where I go through the application bit by bit, and you can have a look at the video and I explain how you complete it if anyone has issues. A wee bit of support and advice, and this is based on some applications that we've received, but also just some information we've got from other funders. The use of AI. So some people use AI, which is absolutely fine. But what I will say is what you put into AI and what you get out of AI can sometimes be two totally different versions. So please ensure that you're reading any information that's coming back. So if you're using ChatGPT, for example, please read the application before you submit it, because we have had applications where the body of the application and the costings, they're not the same project, they don't add up. So please, if you are using AI, just read the application and ensure it makes sense, and ensure that the costing details match the project that you're applying for. Under the age of 16, we cannot approve applications that will support anyone under the age of 16. It is a Scottish Government rule and we cannot break it. Linked to the priorities of the fund, so please do not assume that the panel are aware of the work your organisation carries out. Link your application to mental health, early intervention or prevention. If you submit an application and there is no mention of mental health initiatives, supporting social isolation, for example, or loneliness, any link to early intervention or prevention, it is unlikely that your application will be awarded. This fund is solely to support community mental health and wellbeing, so please make that clear within your application how you're supporting the priorities of the fund. Support. So we have support officers working within your localities. In East Kilbride, we've got Kimberly Keys and Douglas Smith. In Hamilton, we have Charlotte Elsner. Ashley Waters has since left. In Clydesdale, we have Anne Sangster and Ashley Weiner. And in Camglen, we've got Peter McGee and Laura Sheffield. The email addresses for these workers are their first name dot their second name at vastland.org.uk. You can also find all their contact details on our website. My contact information. So I am Joanne McMahon, the operations lead. My email address is joanne.mcmahon@vastland.org.uk, and my work telephone number is 075 1465 8509. If you have any questions, you can give me a call. If I don't answer, I will get back to you as soon as possible. And just a recap before we move on to the Q&A. Projects must specifically benefit people over the age of 16. If you are predominantly a children's charity, just please specify how you evidence that your participants are over the age of 16, because it will probably come up at panel. Projects must have a specific South Lanarkshire focus only, so you can only support South Lanarkshire residents through your project. Participants will be given to South Lanarkshire organisations. Salary costs, so within the guidance this year, any salary costs applied for must meet the real living wage. This again came from Scottish Government. We have no leeway on this, so please take that into account. It does not need to be for all your staff, just for the staff that you're applying for on this application, and also take into account any potential uplift in April. You can apply for up to £10,000. It does not affect any current applications. The panel will meet in January with award notices being sent after panel, and payments will be made from the 1st of February. Finally, link your application to the priorities. That is really important. And this year we have seen some applications come in that don't link to mental health at all. So just please ensure that you're linking to the priorities. So quite a lot of information to take in. We are going to go to the Q&A. It is for this round of funding only, so I can't answer specific questions about previous applications that you've put in, or very specific about projects. So if you've got any of the questions, please contact me after this. For applications that are currently sitting within the fund, panel have not met, so I cannot give you an outcome of that. We will meet in January and you'll receive your outcome after panel. So I'm going to stop sharing and we'll go to any questions if anyone has any questions or comments or queries that they would like answered.
Yeah, I have a question. Regarding the cost, okay, so if I apply for the 10,000 grant, because some organizations, some funding organizations will put a cap on certain items, and if it is over that cap, we have to supply evidence like quotes, those kind of things. So does it apply here?
The only cap we have is for capital costs, so you cannot apply for more than £5,000 in capital costs. It's not a case of if you did apply for more than £5,000, we would ask for evidence, we just wouldn't fund it. So you cannot apply for more than 5,000 capital costs. Outside of that, no, once your application comes in, if we feel any of the costs are too high, for example, travel costs or volunteer costs, or even events can be quite a big one, then panel will discuss it. What I would say is just keep your costings realistic. I wouldn't come in overly costing anything, because it might be what tips another project over yours. So just be mindful when you're doing your costings. We want everyone to have full cost recovery. We don't want projects running at a loss, but at the same time, just be mindful when you're putting your costings in.
Yes, thank you.
Now, I think I've got one in the chat, if you just bear with me. Amanda's asked, you can apply, you say that we can apply for more than one. Is there a maximum cap? We don't have a maximum cap on how many applications you put in. Again, to be realistic about it, if the fund is severely oversubscribed, although we're saying you can put in one or two applications, they won't, I can't guarantee they'll both get funded. It really depends on the level of applications we get in. What I've been telling groups at the moment is potentially no more than two. I don't think panel would fund any more than two to the one organisation. So it's a good guide to go on, but we haven't put a cap on it.
It interests me. As you know, I've applied numerous times before. That you've set up to 5,000 capital costs from the 10K. That to me is a new one. So are you expecting the majority of people to put in revenue costing as well?
No, it's just if you're applying. So this has been the same every year of the fund.
Scottish Government, okay.
Yeah, Scottish Government will only allow 5,000 in capital costs. So that's if you have capital costs that you're applying for, we can only fund up to 5,000 of that through this fund. This year we have seen an increase in organisations put in for revenue or core costing or capital costing. It's how you word it within your application, and on the costing breakdown there's a specific box for capital costs. So it's just how you're framing your application.
Oh no, that's grand. I hadn't been aware. Maybe I haven't in previous times. I haven't. All my most of my applications have been under 5K.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting, because in my head I was sort of thinking 6, 7. What could we do? So that's a great point to pick up this morning. Thank you. That's good. Cheers.
Okay.
I was just going to say, you've already said, but if there's any if applying is new to some people that are here, you already mentioned the importance of telling the story of who your group is and what you're about, because Joanne and all the others that are looking at the applications may not know you at all. And it's so important to tell a story, isn't it? The who, what, when, where, how. Just saying, because that's what I try and, sort of, I get inquiries all the time to help with funding applications. And that's where we start, that people have made an effort, but they haven't outlined a background of who they are, which is really important. Because otherwise you guys, whoever's assessing it, has no idea. So it's just random chat. Sorry. Okay.
What we asked, so on the video that Peter's just put in the chat, that's a video of the application form. So it's myself going through the application form, and on the body of your application, the three main things we ask for is who are you supporting, how are you going to do it, and why are you doing it? So what is the need, who's benefiting from it, and what do you need for us to be able to do it? We don't need War and Peace. We don't need to know what awards have been won, or we just need to know for this project, what is it impact, who is it supporting, if you've already ran this project, how well has it went. So that's really what we're looking for, is why is it so important within your community that we fund this project. We are always here, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, we're always here. If any support is needed with your application, please do not hesitate to get in touch with anyone at Vasslan. It will be directed to the right person once you've been in touch, and someone will get back to you to support you with your application. So please don't worry about it or panic about it or feel like it's completely out of the known for you. We are always here to help. Have a lovely day.
Thanks a lot. Okay, cheers.
Thank you. Bye.